The stem and leaf diagram below shows the number of copies of the Mullery News sold each week over 17 weeks in a particular shop. The value in the diagram for one of the weeks is P, where P is an element of n. It's a number between 1 and 10, in other words. Okay, or between 1 and 9, really. The key to this stem and leaf 3/2 is 32 copies of the Mullery News. Okay, why can't P be 10? Of course, because there's only one digit here, so P is less than 9. Anyway, the range of the data is 39. Find the value of P. So when they give you this, see, can you get the formula down? Okay, so the first thing I would write down is range equals max value minus the min value. Our max value is P. Our min value is 8. Okay, our smallest value there is 0.8, which is 8. Okay, and it's telling us that is 39. Okay. Yeah, look at me. Now P is 40 something. Okay. And I know that because here's my 4 and then I'm just missing my other digit. Okay, so P then, let's solve it, is equal to 39 plus the 8. So what you're doing there is you're plussing 8 to both sides, or you're bringing over the minus 8 and it becomes plus 8, whichever way you've learned that. But either way, you're finding out that not P, I suppose, but that max value is equal to 39 plus 8, which is 47, okay? And I suppose, strictly speaking, I shouldn't have called it P. I should have left it as max value, and then it might make more sense. So let me go back and do that, because I don't really want to confuse you. And I'll tell you why now in a minute. So the max value is 47, okay? So to fit that into your stem and leaf, there's the 4, so P is 7, okay? So strictly speaking, P is 7. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. Just know that range is max value minus min value. If the difference between the minimum and the maximum is 39, then the maximum value has to be 39, add on that 8. Okay, and there was 10 marks for figuring that out. Find the value of each of the following statistics for the data. The first one, it said, was mode. Okay, so what is mode? Mode is the value that occurs most often. Okay, so let's have a look at our data. Have we a value here that occurs the most often? I see a 6 and a 6, so 16 and 16 happens twice. I see a 19 and 19 and 19. So there's 3 of them. 6, 8, 2, 4, 1, 3, and of course that's 7. So 19 is the value that occurs most often. So your mode is 19. Okay, the median is the value in the middle. Okay, so you can do this from your Venn diagram, or you can write them out again, and you probably know from the last class that I am going to write them out. So 8, 16, 16, 17, 19, 19, 19, 99, 19, 20, 21, 25, 26, 28, 32, 34, 41, 43, and 47. Okay, and then median is the value in the middle when they are in order. 17 weeks, okay, so roughly divide that by 2 and you get roughly 8.5, okay? So I count down 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and you can see there I'm getting to 20, and now I'm going to count up 8 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, and therefore you can see that there's a single value in the middle, and you'll always have a single value in the middle for median if you're getting the median of an odd number. Okay, there'll always be a value in the middle. If you're getting the median of an even number, you'll end up with 2 values here in the middle, for example, and of course you get the average of those 2. So the median of this one is 21. Okay, so median is equal to 21 copies, okay, of the Mullery news sold over that 17 weeks. Okay, part C. The sum of the data in the stem and leaf is 431. Use this fact to find the mean, okay? So mean is another word for average, okay? So you add them all up. So the sum of the data over the total number, okay? Maybe I'll write it like that. So in other words, you add up all these values, 8, 16, 16, 17, 19, 19, all of these values here. They've done that thankfully for us, and you get 431. And you divide it by the number of numbers, or the total numbers, which we know is 17 in this case, because it was 17 weeks. Okay, so it'll be 431 divided by 17. So 431 divided by 17. And we get 25.35 on my calculator. So 25.35 to 1 decimal place then. So you look at the second decimal place if you're going to round to 1, because the second one dictates what has to happen to the first one. So 5 and greater, we round up. So 25.4 copies is the mean. Okay, so remember from last week, the mean, the mode, and the median are what we call measures of centre, or measures of central tendencies. They describe the central point of our data. Okay, or on average, how many are sold. Okay, so that's important. The range then, and the other one, the interquartile range, are measures of spread or measures of variability. So there's 5 measures, 3 of centre, which are these 3 here, and 2 measures of spread, which are the range and the interquartile range. So you must be able to do all 5 of them now as part of your course. Okay, the next bit then said, in the 18th week, there was a special issue of the Mullery News, and there were a lot more copies of it sold than in any of the other weeks. Find the modal number of copies sold per week over the whole 18 weeks. Okay, find the mode. Find the modal number of copies. Okay, so let me go back and read that again. In the 18th week, there was a special issue of the Mullery News, and there was a lot more copies of it sold than in any other weeks. Find the modal number of copies sold per week over the whole 18 weeks. So the mode. So remember the mode, the value that occurs most often. Okay, so what it's telling me is that there's a special edition of the Mullery News and there's a lot of copies sold, much more than any other weeks. So our new number is down here. Okay, so the 18th week has got a big number. So of course it's going to be here at the end here. Okay, and I'm going to call it X. Okay, and I'm placing it here. Can you see I'm placing it here at the end of my list of numbers? Why at the very end? Well, these are all in numerical order, okay? So if it's got the most copies sold, it's going to sit there at the bottom. Now, regardless of that value, it's only ever going to occur once, which means our mode is still going to be 19. 19 is still going to be the value that occurs most often, regardless of how big this number is. Okay, so therefore, your answer to this particular one here, find the modal number, is still 19 copies. Okay, it's still the value that occurs most often. It then says find the median number of copies sold per week over the whole 18 weeks. Okay, so let's go back to where I wrote them out. Okay, let's see if I can get rid of the red box from around it. Okay, and the red dots, okay, because I'm going to use the same list again because it's the same numbers. Right, so we now have 18. So let's divide 18 by 2. And we get 9 or thereabouts, okay? So what I'm still going to do is I'm still going to come down 8 values, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, just like I did when I was getting the median the last time. And I'm going to come up 8 again. Do you see my X at the bottom is my first one this time? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And just like the point I was making earlier, I didn't realize this example was here. Now we have 2 values in the middle that's taking up our median spot, okay? So your median then would be 21 plus 25 divided by 2, or in other words, it's halfway between these two, okay? So you're going to get 23 then for your median, okay? So for the answer over here, of course, you could write all of these down here. If you wanted to show your work. Okay, you can write it down there again. Okay, but at a minimum for my median, I would write 21 plus 25 over 2 is 23 copies. Okay, and then the last part of this question, the mean number of copies sold per week over the whole 18 weeks was 28.5. Work out the number of copies that were sold in the 18th week. Okay, so mean equals 28.5 copies. Okay, so what you would have done is added up all the values. And I'm going back to find, if I add up the first 17 values, do you see it's 431? So I would take that 431 and I would add on the X. Remember I called whatever was sold in the 18th week X. So let X equal to number of copies sold in the 18th week. And then I would divide it not by 17 like I've done here, because that was just for 17 weeks. Now I'm dividing by 18. And the answer I'm getting, or the answer they're telling me I'm going to get, is 28.5. Okay, so how do I solve this for X? Okay, well, the first thing I would do is multiply by 18, because that will cancel the 18 from that side. And so I'm left with 431 plus X being equal to, and on my calculator, I'm going 28.5 multiplied by that 18. Okay, which is 513. And what does that mean? Well, that means that when you add up all of the copies that were sold, you get 513. Okay, when you add them all up. Now I'm going to then subtract 431 from that, because of course that's the sum total that were sold in the first 17 weeks. Okay, and that will leave just X, which was the number of copies sold in the 413. I did take it down backwards, sorry. So 513 minus 431. Okay, and I'm getting for that there was 82 copies sold in the 18th week. Okay, so I hope that's all right. That's a typical higher level question where they give you a new mean and they ask you to work out the new value. So just set it up like you would calculating the mean of any number, let it equal to the answer that you gave it and solve it then for the unknown X value. Okay.